The ABC 17 Storm Track Winter Weather Special, sponsored by ATR Towing and Recovery and Boone Electric Cooperative, starts now.
Welcome to the ABC 17 Storm Track Winter Weather Special. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. Two things come top of mind this time of year for many of us: how cold is it going to get and how much snow we can expect. Tonight, the ABC 17 Storm Track weather team will work to answer those questions. Models from the National Weather Service released last month suggest we are in for a warm and wet winter, but many of us know across mid-Missouri winter is far from predictable. Here at ABC 17 News, we take weather events that could disrupt your daily life very seriously. During last year's winter season, the Storm Track weather team issued 9 weather alert days, each bringing a new set of threats. Here's a behind-the-scenes look at what goes into issuing a weather alert day. Winter in mid-Missouri brings it all. Here's our latest ice tracker. I just updated this in the last hour to hour and a half. We're going to see anywhere from a quarter to a half an inch of ice. The ABC 17 Storm Track weather team issues weather alert days ahead of threatening conditions all year round. The process starts with analyzing critical data for the potential of inconvenient weather that could become life-threatening or dangerous for travel. Our team of meteorologists works together to develop a thorough forecast that lays out the impacts for our area. But by afternoon and evening, visibility and slick roads will be a problem, even into Saturday night. A carefully created set of criteria helps us make the decision to issue a weather alert day. In the winter, we look for the potential of accumulating snow, freezing rain or ice, wind chills below 0, and low temperatures below 10 degrees. From there, it's all hands on deck. Newsroom staff prepares the newscasts to get the most important information to you quickly, and the meteorologists write an insider blog with all the critical details for ABC17news.com. That blog gets shared across all platforms so you can stay in the know around the clock. Whenever a weather alert day is issued, you want to make sure you have your car prepared in the days ahead leading up to the storm, and that means having yourself prepared, having all of these materials in your car beforehand in case something were to happen. So it's always a good idea to have a blanket, extra clothes. A scraper is good, especially if we're in an icy situation. Also have some non-perishable food items, water for sure, things that won't go bad sitting inside your car. Another good idea is to have flashlights as well as some extra batteries too to power those up, as well as a cell phone charger in case you're stuck for hours out in the storm. The main thing is staying safe if you're outside in your car. Also, another good thing to have is the ABC 17 Storm Track weather app. You can get alerts sent right to your phone, and if you have service, again, make sure you have that charger. You can watch our broadcast right from the app. Now that you have a better understanding of what types of threats we look out for on radar, it's time to take a closer look at how winter precipitation forms and what kind of risks it can pose. Storm Track forecaster Nate Slater breaks down the science.
It's that time of year where temperatures begin to dip below freezing and rain showers shift over to snow and ice storms. You'll likely hear about lots of different types of precipitation like sleet or freezing rain, but what are these exactly and what risks do some of them pose? Each different type of precipitation has its own way of forming, which can really help forecasters detect it before it gets here. Much of this depends on the temperatures in the atmosphere as the precipitation falls. Snow, one of the more familiar types, is possible when the whole atmosphere is below freezing. Sleet and freezing rain occur when portions of the atmosphere aloft are above freezing, allowing the ice crystals time to melt. Sleet tends to occur with a more shallow layer, giving that ice more time to melt and then refreeze before it reaches the surface. Alternatively, freezing rain will start out as ice and clouds, then move through a very large warm layer and then refreeze as it comes into contact with the ground at sub-freezing temperatures. These different types of processes and all of these precipitation types come with different hazards as well. We're familiar with the power of snow as it can quickly inundate roadways and cause power outages. This is shared by many precipitation types in winter, but some of them can be more impactful. Copious amounts of sleet are also likely to cause power outages and potential property damage. Possibly worst of all, freezing rain is able to coat roadways extremely quickly and can likely lead to widespread power outages. It only takes about half an inch of freezing rain to quickly cause some problems, and that's only about the width of my finger. It's important to stay vigilant and remain aware of the weather forecast before it reaches your area. Knowing which type of precipitation is coming could help you better prepare for those risks associated with them. As always, if you're going to be headed out on those roadways, take extra caution this winter. In Boone County, I'm ABC 17 Storm Track forecaster Nate Slater.
Plow truck drivers with the Missouri Department of Transportation are gearing up for another busy winter. Storm Track meteorologist John Ross spoke with a MoDOT engineer to find out what goes into clearing roadways.
The salt you use every year on your sidewalk is at its most basic form the same as what crews use to clear our roads every year. With that said, their methods can be a bit more complex.
There are a few routes we use straight salt on, but primarily there's a mixture of material.
MoDOT District Maintenance Engineer Jason Schaefer says they add salt to rough and gritty abrasives like sand or rock chips to give drivers a chance at traction while the ice or snow melts. But even with traction, there are times when it's just too cold for salt alone to work effectively. He says last February was a good example of this.
Our salt really wasn't effective at that point because it was simply too cold.
For temperatures in the low 20s and below, MoDOT looks to a salt brine solution. Schaefer adds that salt levels in the solution can be configured to allow it to work at colder temperatures, but there's also a limit to this.
You'll get your freezing point down to, I want to say, about 5 to 10 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit.
The saltwater mixture has other applications as well.
The brine we will use a lot of times, say if we're going to treat in advance of a storm.
You may be surprised to learn that crews also apply beet juice to roads in certain conditions.
The sugar in the beet juice will help the salt stick to the road so it doesn't blow off.
With all the variables to a winter storm, MoDOT says their treatment plan will usually be a custom one.
I've always said the storms are a lot like people. They all have their basic or their different quirks, and you need to know how to respond to them.
Even with all of this technology and planning, treatment materials will still stick to and damage your vehicle. Devin Kelly, owner of All Star Automotive in Columbia, says the best way to fight this is the old-fashioned way.
Some manufacturers have started spraying undercoating under vehicles, but keeping them clean is probably one of the best things that you can do.
And of course, it's important to remember to give these crews their space this winter for your safety and theirs. In Boone County, I'm ABC 17 Storm Track meteorologist John Ross.
Having the right materials is only half the battle. Another concern is having enough drivers to staff plow trucks. MoDOT says it's several hundred employees short of where it typically is going into winter, meaning it will likely take longer for some roads to be cleared. ABC 17 Chanel Porter has a story.
Staffing issues have impacted nearly every sector across the nation this year, and this winter isn't going to be any different. Soon these roads will turn from this to this, and snowplows will head out for work. But this year, crews are facing staffing issues.
We haven't changed any of our, priorities. We haven't changed how we're going to approach any storm, but it could take longer just because we won't be able to fill every truck, every shift if we have those long-term storms.
Ed Hassinger with MoDOT says the biggest concern is if a statewide storm lasts more than one day and requires multiple shifts for staff. But he says available crews will be working in full force.
When we go into snow mode, we work 12-hour shifts and we keep working until we're done.
Other local city public works departments say their staffing issues aren't as heightened as MoDOT's are.
We're very happy that we're fully staffed, but it's definitely a different environment than it's been in years past. Getting qualified applicants, we didn't get nearly the number of applicants that we would typically get.
Richard Stone with Columbia Public Works said they're in a similar situation going into winter with the same staff as last year. But Stone is concerned about surrounding divisions that are having staffing issues.
We borrow resources from other divisions throughout the city that then help fill out our snow response.
Although snow hasn't covered the roads just yet, preparation really starts in the summer.
Making sure that our bins are full of salt, which we've done for the year. We're ready for that. And right now it's really about checking the equipment. We have 24 trucks that we have to go through, set up with plow spreaders, and make sure that they're all working right.
MoDOT and other public works agencies are going to work with the staff that they do have on board to make sure that roads are taken care of this winter. Reporting in Jefferson City, Chanel Porter, ABC 17 News.
MoDOT is encouraging drivers to be patient and take things one storm at a time. You can stay ahead of all the changes this winter by downloading the ABC 17 Storm Track weather app. Our app gives you access to live radar in the Storm Track Insider blog and sends you notifications directly to your phone when watches or warnings are issued in your area. It's available for free download wherever you get your apps. Still to come on the ABC 17 Storm Track Winter Weather Special. Climate scientists have long warned about the effects of rising global temperatures could have on our day-to-day weather. After the break, we're hearing from two experts to find out how warming temperatures impact mid-Missouri winters. Then,
not only does this weather affect our lives, it also affects our pets.
We're talking with the Central Missouri Humane Society for tips on keeping your four-legged friend warm when the temperature dips below freezing. Plus, find out what we can expect this winter in my long-range forecast. Stay with us. Welcome back. 2020 and 2019 were the second and third hottest years on record, intensifying warnings from scientists about what potential impacts rising global temperatures could have on our daily weather. The Storm Track weather team spoke with two experts to learn more about the possible impacts this warming could have on mid-Missouri winters. Decades of evidence proves that the Earth is warming, but to what extent and what does that mean for mid-Missouri winters? Researchers continue to study several theories, but many scientists believe it will be harder to get stretches of extreme cold, including Doug Cluck, the regional climate director for the Central region at NOAA.
Minimum temperatures are low. Your low temperatures in the wintertime are actually going up faster than the maximum temperatures are. So it's not as cold at night as it used to be in the wintertime.
Since 1970 in Columbia, we have recorded 15 fewer nights below 32 degrees. The lowest annual temperature has risen 11 degrees in the past 50 years. The length of cold stretches has also shrunk by about 10 days. But what if warming in the Arctic could actually bring more extreme cold periods in January and February? Storm Track meteorologist Kevin Schneider also interviewed Dr. Judah Cohen, the director of seasonal forecasting at Atmospheric and Environmental Research. He explains how increasing temperatures at the poles could potentially disrupt the polar vortex more often.
You talked about warming in the Arctic and that polar vortex kind of stretching or breaking down. Are those two linked in any way?
In its typical state, it's sitting right over the North Pole, and then it's disrupted or weakened. It'll start migrating or meandering to other places. It'll take the cold air with it, so it can, meander towards Asia or Europe or the North America and even the United States. And that's when you tend to get these cold air or Arctic outbreaks. It's important because the risk to severe winter weather greatly increases when you have these disruptions or weakenings of the polar vortex.
When cold air from the polar vortex meets warmer air near the Earth's surface, it can create perfect conditions for a rare weather phenomenon last seen in mid-Missouri nearly a decade ago. Storm Track forecaster Chance Gotch breaks down Thundersnow.
We've all seen lightning and heard thunder in a thunderstorm. That familiar flash and bang enough to scare you. But have you seen it during a thundersnow? Well, snowstorms that produce 1 to 4 inches of snow per hour can lead to thunder and lightning. Now, this is a very rare occurrence. Usually 6.3 events happen per year in the United States. 2013 and early February was the last recorded thundersnow here in Jefferson City in Columbia. Back to 2011, thundersnow could be heard from all the way from southern Joplin all the way to northeastern Missouri. So just how does thundersnow happen? Well, similarly to thunder and thunderstorms, this sound occurs due to the rapid expansion of air caused by heat of air from lightning. The difference between snowstorms and thunderstorms starts with air masses. A cold air mass moves into a region of even cooler air. This causes the warmer mass of air to rise into the atmosphere. When this happens, an updraft is created. Large amounts of snow within the clouds begin to collide quickly, causing negative and positive charges. This negative charges in the cloud remain at the bottom of the cloud deck, while positive charges climb to the top. When there are too many negative charges in the bottom of the cloud disperses its negative charges into the ground or nearby clouds, producing lightning, which in turn causes rapid heating and expansion of air, leading to thundersnow. An average of 6.3 thundersnow events occur in the U.S. per each year. Given this low number of perfect conditions and the dullness of thunder caused by muffling of falling snow. This is ABC 17 Storm Track forecaster Chance Gotch.
When winter weather strikes where you live, share photos, videos, and story ideas with us by clicking the Share tab on our website, abc17news.com. After the break, find out how to safely prepare your home for winter weather without breaking the bank. Welcome back. A typical mid-Missouri winter brings frigid temperatures plus the occasional ice or snowstorm. These conditions not only affect our daily lives, but also our pets. The Central Missouri Humane Society says the best way to keep your four-legged friends safe during the winter months is by keeping them indoors. If you can't do that, it's crucial your pet has some sort of shelter outside, as well as access to both fresh and frozen water. Michelle Casey with the Humane Society says one of the main issues they face this time of year is staffing.
Very understaffed right now, so it puts a little bit more pressure on our current staff, especially as we prepare for the winter months. Our volunteer program is thriving, although we don't have as many opportunities open as we did prior to COVID.
Casey tells us the shelter is currently caring for nearly 200 cats and dogs. To see what animals are currently up for adoption or how you can get involved with the Humane Society this winter, visit the web address on your screen. As the temperatures drop, you might find yourself reaching for the thermostat, but there's a few things homeowners can do to keep it warm inside. ABC 17's Hannah Falcon has tips on how to prepare your home for the winter season without breaking the bank.
Owning a home can be very costly, but if you're not prepared for the winter weather, a disaster like a burst pipe or a house fire can be much more than you bargained for.
It's not real costly to do a lot of maintenance, and it'll save you a lot of money in the long run.
As winter weather blows in, Mid-Missourians are preparing their homes for freezing temperatures. Jeff Kendall at Westlake Ace Hardware told me how to keep that cold out of your home.
A lot of people don't think about it, but even make sure your seals, your side seals and your bottom seal on your garage door are good and airtight, because all the garages are going to have an entry into your house, and that can be a cool point for cool air coming in. That cold air, it can sneak in the smallest of cracks, and a lot of people don't even realize it.
Pipe covers, caulking, window seals, and faucet covers can run up a price tag, but not nearly as much as a burst pipe or house fire if you're ill prepared.
If you are running a supplement heat source, make sure it is rated for indoors, because that can put off, carbon monoxide.
You don't have to wait for the cold to prepare.
Some things that you can do throughout the year to help maintain that is make sure you keep changing your furnace filters. They get clogged up, and that really, takes away the efficiency of your furnace or your air conditioner.
If you're going to be using a space heater inside your home, having a working carbon monoxide detector is important. Reporting from North Columbia, I'm Hannah Falcon, ABC 17 News.
If you're using a space heater, just a reminder, do not plug it into an extension cord. Fire officials say it increases your risk for a house fire. The Salvation Army of Mid-Missouri offers shelter for people looking for relief from the elements. The organization operates both Columbia's Harbor House and the Center of Hope in Jefferson City. Major Curtis Hartley with the Salvation Army says his team works to provide basic services to those in need during the winter months.
It's that time of year when the cold weather sets in, and we want to make sure that anybody who is in danger of being harmed by the cold can certainly have a place to get in out of the cold and have a hot meal, hot drinks, and those kinds of things, and a warm place to spend the night.
Major Hartley also tells us getting enough employees or volunteers to staff the centers has always been a struggle. He says there is a wide range of opportunities available at both shelters.
We certainly would love to have more volunteers helping just with the monitor situation, with the check-in of individuals who are coming in out of the cold. We also desperately need cooks. As you mentioned, staffing is difficult for everyone these days, and neither of our facilities has a cook regular on staff.
If you would like to help out but don't have the time to volunteer, Major Hartley says the shelters are always accepting things like blankets, coats, and basic hygiene necessities. COVID-19 precautions like mask wearing and social distancing will continue to strongly be encouraged this winter. The Center of Hope is the only operational warming shelter in Jefferson City. In Columbia, there are a few more options. Here's a map of the 5 warming centers listed on the city's website. However, as of right now, they are only operating during normal business hours. In the event of temperatures dipping below 9 degrees Fahrenheit, Columbia leaders say a temporary overnight shelter will be open at the Wabash bus station on North 10th Street. The ABC 17 Storm Track Winter Weather Special will continue in just a minute. A continued La Nina will likely bring warmer and wetter than average conditions. In this winter's long-range forecast, I'm breaking down what this global pattern could mean for our temperatures and snowfall through the end of February. It's been anything but an ordinary fall after a warm and wet October wrapped up with a severe weather outbreak that brought 3 tornadoes to mid-Missouri. Here's the latest track of this. This tornado warning goes until 5:30 for parts of Pettis County and most of Cooper County. We kicked off November more than 10 degrees cooler than normal, with snow reported in Kansas City and our first widespread frost within days of Halloween. We can thank the global pattern La Nina for the wild weather as we progress closer to winter. There's an almost 90% chance of La Nina sticking around through March. So what does this mean for the next 3 months across the country? The polar jet stream tends to align with the Pacific jet, bringing more moisture and forcing for active weather across the Pacific Northwest and the Midwest to the Ohio Valley. Temperatures tend to be more variable in the Midwest versus warmer and drier in the southern states. You'll remember we were in a similar spot last winter with a slightly less influential La Nina in place. The interesting thing about being in a La Nina in mid-Missouri is that each winter can be vastly different since we're so close to the upper level storm track. Last year, we ended up below average on snowfall with a little more than 13 inches, but the average temperature actually came in cooler than normal thanks to a frigid February. Several stretches of single-digit temperatures cooled us 10 degrees below the monthly average. A typical winter in mid-Missouri gives us about 15 inches of snow with an average temperature around freezing. This year, the Climate Prediction Center is forecasting above average precipitation and temperatures for mid-Missouri, whereas last year we were close to normal. Thanks to a stronger signal for La Nina this winter, we can expect several stretches of mild temperatures along with some frigid cold snaps. Given our proximity to the jet stream, there's also a good chance we could end up with a little more snow, rain, or ice than normal too. The chance of having a white Christmas in Columbia is 22%, and the last time we saw snow on the ground for Santa's arrival was back in 2017. Our average first measurable snow is usually around the end of November, but the earliest reported snowfall has happened as early as late October in years past. So what can we expect for the months ahead? Keep some of your light clothes handy along with your winter parka. There could be some warm days, but you'll just want a light layer. Make sure your car and home are winterized because we'll have some cold stretches along with some storms that will bring a mix of rain, snow, and ice. We all want to forget about the ice storm in early January of last year, but it could certainly happen again this winter. Snowfall amounts are expected to be slightly above average in the 15 to 20 inch range. Always stay prepared by keeping up with the ABC 17 Storm Track weather team and on our posts on Facebook, Twitter, and the Insider blog on abc17news.com. It's also a great idea to keep your NOAA weather radio charged up even during the winter months. If you missed any part of today's special, you can head to our website, abc17news.com. Our digital team plans to upload the entire newscast. You can find it by clicking the Weather tab on our homepage. For the Storm Track Weather Team, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. Have a great night.
You've been watching the ABC 17 Storm Track Winter Weather Special, supported by these sponsors.